Oh, Andrea Tessman.
Yes, Kirk Buchner.
September 21st, 1985. It was a magical day. Do you remember it?
I do not.
I don't know that I do. But you know what else was happening that day?
What?
In the world of professional boxing, Michael Spinks defeated Larry Holmes for the World Boxing Championship.
I totally knew that.
Oh, yeah, well, you probably knew this. Don King probably screwed them both on their payoff. In the films, the big movie of the day was Commando, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, featuring some of the greatest lines ever. Don't bother my friend, he's dead tired. Also, another great one.
Oh man, was this before or after Conan the Barbarian?
This was after.
Nice.
Yes. Did you ever see Commando?
I have not.
It's a wonderful male flick from the 80s. You know, Schwarzenegger just pretty much killing everyone, and then with one-liners when he killed one guy. Remember, Sully, when I promised to kill you last? That's right, you did. I lied. And then he drops him off a cliff. Yeah, the plot of that...
I love Arnie's one-liners.
Oh, yes. The plot of that film featured Schwarzenegger having to rescue his daughter, who was played by Alyssa Milano. So, the two stars of Commando would become a governor and someone who tells you how to think politically. And both of them were pretty crappy at it. Moving on. In the United Kingdom, the number one song is something that I don't think we'll get to talk about. And I don't think I'm saying this with any homophobia when I say that Dancing in the Streets by Mick Jagger and David Bowie is the gayest song ever.
I mean...
The video, anyway.
I could argue that anything from Rocky Horror Picture Show is gayer.
No, it's less gay than this. Songs by Bronski Beat, who were around the same time, singing about coming out, but he didn't really do in the early 80s, was less gay than this video. I know Family Guy beat me to it, but I actually wrote that before, and then I know they probably never saw my site. But anyway, I see my tangents. But in the United States, something went number one. Money for Nothing, Dire Straits, your selection for the week, and I was a little ambivalent, and then I got excited. Because I sort of like found my angles with it. Because I think I told you, I can't remember if I recorded this part or not, but when we went with this, like the song, when I remembered it, it was just like for me an song. Didn't like it, didn't hate it. It was just there, played all the time in that era. And to me, a far lesser effort than one of the songs I almost considered near perfect as a rock song, Sultans of Swing, 6 years earlier. I don't know, what do you think about Dire Straits' early work?
I still think Sultans of Swing is probably my favorite of their songs. I don't know if it's arguably technically the best, but I personally really like it.
It's a great song live. Mark Knopfler is just brilliant. Doesn't always seem to play it the same way twice. I really forgotten how much I really like this band and this album. My brother, who I think I mentioned to you, that was one of the first CDs he got, and he left all his stuff, or a lot of his stuff behind when he went to Alerts, when he has Alert, which is a Canadian Forces base, closer to the North Pole than the Arctic Circle. He was military then. And so, like, that was one of the albums I would listen to, and I forgot how good, like, the title track, Brothers in Arms, was.
Mm-hmm.
As for this... Go ahead.
I really like their stuff. I like the variety of the music. Like, there's some good, solid rock hooks in there. But then there's some really, like, soft, melodic ballad and heartfelt songs.
I like this band a lot. I was so happy a few years ago when they got into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But I guess we've got to focus in on just this era of 1985. And I know we're going to come back to this era over and over. We already kind of touched it. It was more about what you looked like than what you sounded like. And here's a group that didn't look like much, let's be honest. Dire Straits, if you didn't know who they were, you wouldn't know that they're rock stars. Safe to say?
Yep.
That's even...
I think Mark Knopfler... Well, I mean, the song itself shows disdain for rock stars, but I don't think he actually had a disdain for rock stars, but I think he kind of felt that he was an artist more than a rock star.
Yes.
And therefore, it wasn't about the performance. Or, no, it was about performing. It wasn't about the gimmicks and music videos and the showmanship.
I believe this was their first official video. I mean, I know there was sort of like promo videos.
It was.
For other things.
No, it was their first, and it took MTV convincing them to actually do it. And apparently it actually took Mark Knopfler's girlfriend
I read that too, yeah.
Smack some sense into him and tell him to say yes to it.
So I guess before we get there, he claims that, and I say claims because sometimes, sometimes the truth doesn't always make a good story, that he overheard a couple delivery workers in New York City, or was it a department store? I forget. And there was music.
It was the warehouse guys in an electronics store. There were all of TVs at the back of the store. They were all playing MTV.
Yeah, and so then the one guy was just sort of looking at this, making lewd comments, mostly directed towards how, look at these guys. How is this happening? How they've got such an easy life. I'm here lugging all this crap, and they've figured everything out.
There's jealousy, and there's a hint of respect. Yeah, in that. I should have learned to play the guitar because, like, look at these guys. They got it easy, and they're getting their money for nothing and their chicks for free. Like, so I gotta actually pay for that crap.
I think
so. It probably would have been more accurate to say drugs for free in that era.
Well, I'm sure they got many chicks for free. Like there's something about, hey, let's do a callback. And we talked about Milli Vanilli, these two gorgeous men who never really had to work that hard to get female attention, and then they didn't have to work at all. Mm-hmm. It messes with your head. I don't see how it can't. And I spend a lot of time usually in my days like writing about athletes, and then it doesn't surprise me when so many of them go broke. It's weird to be the guy who peaks at age 24 and not thinking you have to plan all that stuff that far out. A musician that makes it, I don't know that there's that much difference.
No, and I think, well, we've looked at a few different musicians. You look at Goche and how he just he made it. He could have made it huge, but just decided to not go the rock star route. Mm-hmm. And then you have other ones like Vanilli that just let the fame go to their head even if they didn't deserve it. And then I'm sure there's a lot in the in-between.
When I was re-listening to this song, it reminded me a little bit of the whole Sultans of Swing. Just a story of, it's a blue-collar story where, if you remember with Sultans of Swing, he's looking at a bunch of guys in a pub who aren't really getting the music that's in front of them. Mm-hmm. And it what they call rock and roll. Never let me do a Mark Knopfler impression again. That was bad. Even
I'll
for
try
me.
not to.
Yeah, because this will come up in the future conversations we have. And this is, again, another blue-collar point of view where they're either not getting it and you kind of feel a hint of sarcasm. And I don't know whether Knopfler feels that he's above them or he's trying to relate to them. I can't figure it out.
I think he's trying to tell a story. I think he's literally just... I don't necessarily know that he feels above them. I think he's just sort of hearing a story and trying to retell it. But then again, I don't know anything really about Mark Knopfler personally or his attitudes or opinions. So, who knows? I think...
Well, I was just going to...
I think that he made a comment in one of the interviews that I read where he said something along the lines of, it's dangerous to take on that first-person character when you're writing a song. And it was about the controversy of the words in Money for Nothing.
Yes.
Because he was literally just using phrases that he said he overheard. So, because he felt it was more authentic. And then people take that and think that that's your opinion, which obviously it's not, because in this case, Dire Straits were huge celebrities and rock stars at this point. Mm-hmm. So, I think he probably just found it funny.
Well, again, it's like the evolution of words. Like when we were talking, there was another callback last week with Marky Mark's trouble with words that he used that I would think that a teenager in the late 80s may not have quite grasped that impact. That word, and let's just do the whole phrase. The controversial phrase was, again, in the done in the voice of the character of the delivery guy. That little F word with the earring and the makeup. That
little F word. He's a millionaire.
Oh, he's a millionaire. Thank you. Okay, I was blanking on that second part.
So there's a derogatory sense to it, but there's also some like backhanded respect. Mm-hmm. Like, he's a millionaire, so I'm going to respect him because I think the character is very transactionary. It's very, well, I've got to move refrigerators and color TVs to make some cash. But this guy just has to, like, shake his ass on stage and play the guitar. Like, why, you got to give him some respect for grifting the system.
Which at the end of the song he does.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's really... It's complicated. I think it's a song. It's a song about this. So it's their only number one song about sung from the perspective of a guy who is ripping on rock stars. That rock is, brought the song to number one, and also with an MTV video that was their first MTV video and also won awards. There's so many oxymorons in this entire concept of this song that just doesn't make sense.
Oh, totally. Well, I mean, even just from the start, when he sets up, when he's writing that, and I guess, which I think I found it funny that Sting got a co-writing credit when he literally said, I didn't do anything. Other than...
Yeah, just for, I want my MTV. Yeah, which was already a riff from...
MTV.
Crap, what's the song? No, from, what's the Sting song? It's entirely copied from that song. Damn it, now I'm blanking.
I thought that was like the whole MTV slogan.
No, Sting. Let me just look this up.
Whoever he stole it from might have been also the whole reggae riffs that he ripped off for years.
It was from...
Okay, so
Yeah, of course not.
while you're
Find
doing
it.
that, I do want to. I'll comment though. So they came up with this idea to open up the song with that, and then it never occurs to Knopfler. This is what I have a hard time believing, that it wouldn't be a song that MTV wouldn't want to play.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Like, that doesn't make a lick of sense to me. Oh, would you get
the song is "Don't Stand So Close to Me." Don't stand so close to me.
Oh,
Don't stand.
okay.
Don't stand. I want my MTV. It's exactly the same thing.
Okay.
So apparently, Sting was hanging out with Mark Knopfler for whatever reason. They were friends, and Sting went off. Fuck, man, you've got a hit here. And so Mark Knopfler asked him to, add something to it. So that's what he added to it. So it wasn't that Mark Knopfler ripped him off or anything.
Oh, no, of course not.
Sting was legitimately involved and just used the riff from his own popular song.
Oh, he wasn't ripped off at all. He was credited.
Oh, no, I know. But, it wasn't even like it was done and then asked for permission or just credited or anything. Sting was actually involved in picking that riff to use.
I would have a feeling that the conversation, just hanging out with Knopfler and Sting, might be so boring.
I think it would be very technical, boring music stuff.
No, I
mean, I like technical music stuff, but I think it would be just too cerebral.
Well, then I'd leave you there talking to them, and I'd hit the bar. And then I'd embarrass you, and then you'd have to say, I'm sorry, I have to take my friend home.
All right, we got a plan.
Yeah, well, yeah. That's it. I mean, like, last week I sort of planned to get you a date with Marky Mark. This week we're planning to crash Sting's party where I'll get drunk.
Yeah.
Why not? Next week, who knows what we'll do?
Who knows?
Now, the video itself, I think without that video, you do not have a number one song. Also, if MTV doesn't play it, it doesn't go number one, period. There's no doubt in my mind on that.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one.
And this is actually the first time I think I've maybe watched this video in 20, 25 years. And it was so cutting edge at the time, and now it so isn't.
Oh, it's so bad. But it won awards for, it's the first to use animation like that. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, in 1985, that wasn't a thing. And then they also used that horrible, neon draw-over animation effect that...
Well, that's the other thing that got me. So, when they're watching that, when they're watching the videos at first... I mean, it's Dire Straits themselves with, like you said, that drawn-on neon, which is just not a good look on anybody. Even Duran Duran couldn't have pulled that off in 1983. It didn't look right. Again, those guys do not look like rock stars. They look like the Warehouse guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mark Knopfler, with his headband and whatnot, he looks like a guy who said, I used to be in a band. We all know those guys. And they're like, I'll just break out my guitar. And then while he goes to do that, we all take off. That's who he looks like. And he looks like that then. And he wasn't even that old at that point.
80. He was born in 49-ish.
Okay, so then...
84. He would have been 40 by then.
Yeah, so he wasn't even... So still, in his mid-30s.
Not that old.
Yeah,
I can't disparage 40. Tomorrow is my 40th birthday.
Well, happy birthday to you. Nice.
So I'm like, he wasn't that young. Wait, I'm not that young.
Well, I wasn't necessarily saying what his age was. I'm just saying what he looked like.
Yeah, he didn't look that old, and he wasn't that old. He wasn't Steven Tyler circa 1998. I didn't even say current.
Yeah, before the transition. So I think what also got me.
Dear.
So whatever. Okay, I'm the first person to say that Steven Tyler looks more like an old woman now. I know I'm not.
Yeah, you're definitely not. And I've seen the picture comparisons, and I think it's spot on. Although he's starting to look less like an old woman and more like the old hag puppet from Labyrinth.
I was thinking the old hag puppet from Wayland Flowers and Madam. Nobody over under 60 is going to get what the hell I just said.
Yeah. So back to Knopfler.
Yeah. So when they're sort of talking about that in the third person, like then the first people they're seeing is Dire Straits, and it's like, okay, so you're ragging on yourself.
But then apparently the actual music videos they used a Hungarian band.
Yep, for one of them.
And yeah. Oh, and the other one was made up, I think.
Yes.
I could be wrong.
No, you're right. You're right. It was made up. It looked very slick, actually.
Better than their music
It did.
video.
It totally did. So it went on to win quite a bit of awards in the MTV Music Video Awards. I brought up who they beat, which I thought was, or who they competed against. So they won Best Group Video. Or actually, they won Video of the Year.
Video of the Year.
Yeah, so these were the other four. I think in retrospect, I would have given it to this one, Take On Me, which is still awesome.
Yes. That is legitimately one of the best music videos of
Ever.
all time, objectively, based on technology and everything else.
Mm-hmm. And even though that's more of an 80s song, I think that song just holds up better. I honestly think that.
Also, they did a better job of that drawn-on animation.
That's true.
But anyways, continue. What are the other ones?
Godly and Cream, Cry.
I have no idea what that is.
Basically, what they did is, I didn't watch this, but I'm pretty sure that the way I remember it, you remember Michael Jackson's Black and White, and then the faces just sort of like morphed to different people?
Mm-hmm.
They did that first.
Yeah, okay.
Talking Heads' Road to Nowhere, which is one of those artsy-fartsy things that you'd expect from David Byrne, because that's all he knows how to do.
Mm-hmm.
And this one that probably should not be there. Jesus. Robert Palmer, Addicted to Love.
I don't know what that music video is at all.
Oh my God, okay. Robert Palmer, he's another guy in his mid-30s, but it would just be him singing, and then in the background it's just a bunch of girls pretending to play the guitar, but they all look the same. They've all got slick back hair.
Yes, I've totally seen that.
Yeah. I always found that one kind of creepy, because, now granted, I don't know how creepy I'd find it now, because now I look older than Robert Palmer. But I don't know, it's just like, damn, like, it must be fun at your house. Other winners of Palmer won Best Male Video. Dire Straits won Best Group Video. Best Concept Video, they didn't win. Won. Who also won Best
Which they should have.
Yes. Who also won Best Experimental Video. Oh shit, how did I miss this? Best Overall Performance in a Video. David Bowie and Mick Jagger dancing in the streets.
Awesome.
Oh my God, that is amazing. That song is so
And we all
bad.
know what you think about that.
Yes, I do. And then Dire Straits just broke up. That was it. They performed at Live Aid that year. Another fantastic rendition of Sultans of Swing on that.
Uh-huh.
One of my favorite purchases that I ever got in DVD now, which I don't have to have anymore, was when I got the Live Aid set, when they put that out. Brought back so many fun memories. So I remember watching that from beginning to end.
I have not seen it from beginning to end, but pretty much every performance I've seen from it is excellent.
It is. Even the bad ones are somewhat historic. and fun. It's just a nice little snapshot of everything.
Yeah.
Just for fun, should we look at... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to try to rein it back into to the topic. But what were you going to say? What should we look at?
Well, at this point, then the band broke up. That's it. There's nothing more. Oh, I do.
True.
I do. I had a tease for you at the end. I don't think we put that on air. Because when we talked about what we were going to cover, that I remembered something, and from 1987 or 88, and I apologize, I couldn't find it because I can't even remember what show, but it was a news magazine show. And it was talking about the power of MTV.
Okay.
2 artists went on this show and were complaining about how they just pick and choose their videos seemingly randomly. And unfortunately, when they don't pick a video, then it doesn't do well, and it's just not fair. So they're kind of whining about MTV's monopoly. One artist went the other way. They showed themselves being filmed, giving them a cartoon bag of money, with a fake dollar sign on it. Out of those 3 artists, one kept on performing in arenas. Would we like to try to take a guess at the 2 artists whose career fell apart in 1987/88 when they trashed MTV?
I honestly don't know. And you had asked me about it, and then I kind of briefly looked, and then I forgot.
Okay.
So...
All right, so I'm going to figure out a near close date, because if I look, because I remember the last time this woman got airplay. Oh yeah, it was 87. Okay, Belinda Carlisle.
Oh.
She went on there saying how. Why I remember this, I don't know. And I actually struggle to remember what year I got married, whether it was 2008 or 2007. The only saving grace I have is my wife, we sometimes forget too, at the same time. We one time went out to celebrate. We went out to plan our 7th wedding anniversary, only to realize it was our 8th because Facebook reminded us. So, yeah, that's a true story. So, yes.
That's okay. I have a friend who thought they were a year older than they were for a full year until they realized at their next birthday that they gained a year.
Oh, nice. That's got to be a killer. So, yeah, Belinda Carlisle went on there, and then her career, she never had a hit again. Her last hit, Circle in the Sand. I can't tell you what the last hit was for the other lady, but she was pretty much done after that, and that was Jody Watley.
I don't actually know who that is. So
R&B singer, kind of dance. I won't sing it. I'll just let you look that up on your own.
Okay.
Yeah, rather than me sort of do what I usually do and just wreck everything, because it's not very good. So, the band that decided they would go the other way is someone we've already just discussed. That's Aerosmith.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure imagining Steven Tyler carrying a cartoon bag of money isn't that hard.
No, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I can picture it.
Yeah. And he turned out to be right, and the other 2 turned out to be wrong. And with all due respect to Miss Watley and Miss Carlisle, yeah, I don't know that you really have that artist label. Belinda, especially at that point in her career, you know. I love the Go-Go's.
I mean, the Go-Go's were successful.
I love the Go-Go's.
I mean, she had some
did well.
Some good success on her own, but what?
She did exceptionally well. The Go-Go's did great. I think at one point we're going to cover the Go-Go's. If we ever do, I might actually give you homework.
Just give it to me before like 3 p.m. on our day we're recording.
Why would I do anything different? But yeah.
The last time you gave me homework, well, no, because obviously I didn't do it this time, but the time before that, you literally told me at like 3 o'clock, oh, by the way, here's your homework.
Well, maybe that's why I didn't go into higher education as an educator. I'd be terrible at it. Especially now in this internet age of rate your prof.
Ooh, that's been around for a while.
Not when I needed it.
All right, so Dire Straits, great band,
great
phenomenal rock band,
Mm-hmm.
very, very, very successful.
Mm-hmm.
But relatively short-lived. They broke up. They got back together a few times.
But they didn't produce anything new.
Sorry, what?
Well, they didn't really produce anything of note after.
No, and I honestly think that the rock lifestyle kind of was what ended it all. Knopfler seems like he's happier doing studio work and working with other people rather than being kind of I mean, he's still the star in a lot of things, but he seems to be just the whole. I think the hectic. At one point, they said they did 58 sold out shows in 30-something days or something stupid like that. Like, I think just the whole lifestyle got to be too hectic and too much for him. That's my impression.
Yeah, I think you're right. Great band. My impression of the song didn't change much. It's hardly ever played. I think a lot because of those lyrics, and I don't think there's a whole lot of people clamoring for it either on classic rock stations.
It was banned in Canada for a few years, and then apparently, so the CRTC, which is the Canada Radio and Television Commission, got over 250 complaints from people demanding that it be allowed back on the air. But the CRTC doesn't have anything to do with it. It's the Canadian Radio Standards Commission, CRSC, I think. Mm-hmm. So the CRTC actually requested that the CRSC review it and deal with it because they were sick of getting complaints.
I think they were getting more complaints, not necessarily because Canadians wanted to hear the song. I think they just didn't want to be told what they couldn't listen to.
That is generally, I think, it. And so what they did was they allowed it back on the air at the discretion of the radio station. So some stations will now play it. Some will play the original. Some play an edited version. But it's out there again. But yeah, I don't know the last time I heard it on the radio.
I don't even know what the edited version is.
I'm boring and I listen to talk radio, not rock radio these days.
I just realized I didn't even look to see what the edited version was. Like, did they replace the word or?
They said something. Oh, it was. Look at that. It was another word that implied gay. That wasn't as offensive, but still isn't great. Mm-hmm. And then they said with the ring or with the earring or whatever, and then he said in the second verse, instead of saying "look at that F word, he's a millionaire," they said he's got a helicopter, he's a millionaire, or something like that.
I was thinking probably easily just edit out the word completely, and I don't think it would have made that much of a difference.
There's enough mumbling in that song that I don't think anybody would have noticed. Like at one point where he's talking about the girl sticking it to the camera or something, like you can't make out what he's saying in a bunch of the phrases. So he could have just mumbled through it and nobody would have even noticed.
Most people don't notice the lyrics anyway. All right, so yeah. I guess I get to choose now. But I'll give you a choice between two, because I like what I'm doing here. I like sort of giving you two vague options.
All right, what we got?
Okay, so option number one. A current artist, massively successful, and I've never been more wrong after hearing a debut song in my life. Thinking there's no way I'll ever hear from this person again. I was wrong. and I continue to be wrong, and I have been wrong for the last 13 years. Or we can go to a Euro dance band that was actually pretty big at one point, and Lady Gaga says she was inspired by them.
Oh. I'm going to go with the first one because I'm afraid the second one's Aqua.
It's not Aqua. So I'll just leave that one as a mystery.
We'll go with the first one.
Okay, the first one. One of the most modern ones we've ever done. Boy, did I get this wrong. Katy Perry, I Kissed a Girl, and I liked it.
You did threaten that we would do that at some point.
Yeah, because I think, actually, this might actually be a good segue. We're talking about a banned word. Now we're talking about someone who's pretending to be a lesbian. Or maybe dabble into that.
There we go.
Because there's nothing better than two very straight people discussing LGBTQ. Because we're qualified. But we're Canadians talking about American music, so there. They cancel each other out, which makes us qualified. That's math.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Two negatives make a positive when you multiply them.
Awesome. Well, it's been fun as always.
You have a good night, Kirk.
All right, you too. Take care.
Bye.